Did you ever, like, back in the day, did you do your own stunts?
Of course.
Really? Like,
Have to.
barefoot across the glass and Die Hard and all that kind of stuff?
Yeah.
Really? Why
Still
do
have
you need to
discussed.
do that? What's the purpose of that? It makes sounds, no offense.
For the audience, for
Imagine watching someone you love slowly fade away, piece by piece. Their voice gets quieter, their smile comes less often, and the person who once lit up every room starts slipping into the shadows. At 70 years old, that's the heartbreaking reality Bruce Willis's family is living through. The man who once defined toughness on screen is now fighting a battle no camera ever captured, and what's happening behind closed doors will leave you in tears. When Bruce Willis first announced his retirement in 2022, the news shook Hollywood. For decades, he had been one of the most recognizable faces in cinema. The man who gave us Die Hard, The Sixth Sense, and countless other performances that defined an era of action and drama. Fans around the world assumed it was simply time for the star to step back, to enjoy his family and the fruits of a career that spanned over 40 years. But behind the carefully worded statement, there was a reality so painful that even the toughest on-screen hero couldn't fight his way through it. The truth was that Bruce had been diagnosed with aphasia, a condition that strikes at the very heart of communication. Imagine being able to see the world around you, to know exactly what you want to say, yet being trapped in silence because the words simply won't come. That was the nightmare Bruce was living. For a man whose voice had delivered some of cinema's most quoted lines, losing the ability to find words was more than just a medical diagnosis. It was like watching his identity slowly being stripped away. At first, fans clung to hope. Maybe it was temporary. Maybe with treatment, things could improve. But just a year later, in 2023, the news turned from heartbreaking to devastating. Bruce's family revealed that his condition was part of something much bigger, something far more cruel: frontotemporal dementia, or FTD. Unlike Alzheimer's, which often begins with memory loss, FTD attacks the very core of who a person is. It affects personality, behavior, decision-making, and the ability to communicate. It explained why Bruce's decline had been so sudden and so visible, why the man who once commanded the screen with sharp wit and fearless presence seemed to be slipping away piece by piece. For fans, the announcement was shocking. For his family, it was life-altering. They now had to face a future where the Bruce they knew, the husband, the father, the friend, would slowly fade into someone they might not recognize. The star who had once been larger than life was entering a battle no script could write and no hero could win. But this was only the beginning of the story, because what happened next showed just how cruel this disease could become. Stories like this remind us what truly matters. Hit like and subscribe to stay with us as we uncover more hidden Hollywood truths. At first, Bruce's diagnosis felt like a heavy blow, but one that people thought he might be able to live with. Aphasia explained his sudden retirement, and fans hoped that while he might not act again, he could still enjoy life with his wife, his daughters, and his extended family. But frontotemporal dementia does not stop at stealing words. It takes so much more. As the months passed, reports began to surface about just how much Bruce was struggling. Family, friends, and insiders revealed that the once lively actor, who had been known for his quick humor and warm charisma, was slowly losing his ability to communicate altogether. Conversations that used to flow so naturally were replaced by long silences, half-finished thoughts, or words that didn't quite fit together. For someone who had made a career out of voice, timing, and presence, this was a cruel irony. But the disease didn't stop at language. Soon it began to affect his movements and his independence. Stories emerged of Bruce needing help to walk steadily, of his coordination slipping away, of the smallest tasks becoming overwhelming. For fans, hearing that the man who once sprinted barefoot through broken glass in Die Hard now needed support just to move across a room was almost impossible to believe. For his family, it was a daily heartbreak. What made it even harder was the contrast. Bruce was still physically strong in many ways. His body hadn't withered away. His frame still carried the strength of a man who had always been active. And yet, his mind, his voice, his ability to connect, those were being stripped from him, piece by piece. His wife Emma described it in raw terms. His brain is failing him. To outsiders, it may sound like a phrase, but to his loved ones, it was reality. Imagine looking into the eyes of someone you've known for decades, someone whose every laugh, every joke, every word is etched into your memory, and realizing that those moments may never come again. That is the cruelest part of FTD. And yet, as devastating as this decline was, Bruce's family made a choice. They would not let the disease define the man. They would focus on his dignity, on creating moments of comfort, and on finding ways to keep him surrounded by love. But to do that, they had to make one of the most difficult decisions of all, moving Bruce into a new home, a place where he could receive 24-hour care. And when the world learned about this move, it sparked outrage, criticism, and an emotional firestorm that no one saw coming. As Bruce's condition worsened, his family faced an agonizing reality. Caring for him at home was no longer enough. Frontotemporal dementia is relentless, and it demands constant attention. It wasn't just about keeping him safe. It was about creating an environment where he could live with dignity, where trained professionals could help manage the unpredictable changes that came day by day. In 2025, Bruce was moved into a specially adapted second home near the family's main residence. On the surface, it was the right decision. The house was built with accessibility in mind. No stairs, quiet surroundings, and the presence of professional caregivers who could provide 24-hour support. This new arrangement was meant to ensure that his daughter's lives could remain stable while Bruce received the intensive care he needed. But when the news broke, it sent shockwaves through fans and the media. Headlines painted it as a separation, as if his wife Emma had moved him out to live apart from the family. Critics were quick to jump in, questioning her choices, and some even accused her of abandoning him. Social media erupted with loud opinions, many of them cruel, many from people who had no understanding of what caregiving for dementia really means. Emma Heming Willis did not stay silent. She fought back against the criticism with a raw honesty that stunned the public. She explained that this wasn't about leaving Bruce behind, it was about protecting him, protecting their children, and creating a sustainable way to live through a disease that leaves no winners. She reminded the world that no outsider, no matter how loud, had the right to dictate how a family should handle something so painful. "They don't get a say," she said firmly, shutting down the judgment with the same strength that Bruce once showed on screen. For those who understood, her words resonated deeply. Caring for someone with dementia is exhausting, both emotionally and physically. It is not just about love, it is about endurance, patience, and an endless stream of difficult choices. Emma's decision was one that countless families have faced, but because her husband is Bruce Willis, the world felt entitled to weigh in. And yet, through all the noise, the family's love for Bruce has never been in question. They visit, they hold his hand, they laugh with him when laughter comes, and they stay close even in the moments when he may not recognize them. In truth, Bruce is not alone. He is surrounded, not just by professionals, but by the people who love him most. And in those rare moments when Bruce's old spark breaks through, when his eyes light up or a laugh escapes, it proves that even in the shadow of dementia, the man who defines strength for millions is still there. But those fleeting moments are bittersweet, because each glimpse is a reminder of how much has already been lost. Even as dementia tightens its grip, there are moments when Bruce Willis still shines through, moments so small that outsiders might miss them, but to his family they mean everything. Emma has shared how sometimes, out of nowhere, Bruce will let out one of his old hearty laughs, the kind that used to fill movie sets and light up interviews. Other times, it's a sudden twinkle in his eye, a smirk that reminds everyone of the sharp, witty man who could deliver a punchline with perfect timing. These glimpses are brief, unpredictable, and often followed by long stretches of silence, but they are treasured like gold. His daughters have also spoken about the way he still responds to touch. A squeeze of the hand, a hug, the sound of familiar voices, even when words are gone, these things reach him, and in those moments, it doesn't matter whether he can fully recognize who is in front of him. What matters is the connection. The love is still there, even if the memories are not. It is these flashes of recognition that keep the family going. They are proof that Bruce, the husband, the father, the friend, is still inside, even if the disease has stolen so much from him. And for fans who only know him as the tough guy on screen, these stories are a reminder that beneath the Hollywood legend is a man who, at his core, has always been about heart. But there is a haunting pain that comes with these moments too. For every laugh or smile, there is the awareness that they may not last, that each glimpse could be the last time they see him break through the fog. And that is perhaps the cruelest part of this disease. It gives you hope in 1 second, only to take it away in the next. Still, the Willis family refuses to let despair define their story. Instead, they hold on to the love, the laughter, and the fight to create meaning out of tragedy. And for Emma, that fight has become something larger than her family alone, a mission to give strength and guidance to countless others walking the same path. Through all the heartbreak, one thing has never wavered: the devotion of Bruce Willis's family. His wife, Emma Heming Willis, has carried the weight of caregiving with a strength that few outsiders can truly understand. She is not just a partner, she has become his advocate, his protector, and in many ways, his voice. Caregiving for someone with frontotemporal dementia is relentless. It means adapting to constant changes, never knowing if today will bring a spark of recognition or a deeper silence. Emma has spoken about the exhaustion, the tears, the moments of doubt, but also about the love that makes every sacrifice worth it. Connection doesn't always come from words, she explained in a recent interview. It comes from presence, from touch, from love. Her words resonated far beyond Hollywood. Families around the world who are facing similar battles found themselves reflected in her honesty. And rather than hiding in silence, Emma chose to use her platform to bring awareness to a disease that many had never even heard of before Bruce's diagnosis. This year, she is releasing a book titled The Unexpected Journey, a deeply personal account of what it means to love and care for someone with dementia. It is not a story of defeat. It is a story of resilience, of finding meaning in moments of despair, and of giving a voice to the millions of caregivers who often feel invisible. In sharing her truth, Emma has transformed private pain into public strength, and she is not alone. Bruce's daughters, his ex-wife Demi Moore, and his close circle of friends have all rallied around him. Together they have shown a united front, proving that even when memory fades, love endures. For them, caregiving is not just about keeping Bruce comfortable, it's about making sure his legacy is honored in the most human way possible. Fans have watched in awe as Emma continues to face criticism and scrutiny, often from people who will never understand the depth of her reality. Yet she refuses to be silenced. Every interview, every statement, every moment she shares is a reminder that love is stronger than judgment, and that even in the darkest of times, hope can still shine. But perhaps the greatest lesson in this journey is not about Bruce's movies, his fame, or even his illness. It is about the unshakable power of family, and the courage it takes to keep showing up, day after day, when the world feels like it is falling apart. Bruce Willis spent his life playing characters who could survive anything. The cop who fought terrorists barefoot. The man who saw what others could not. The hero who never backed down. But now, at 70, his greatest role is not on screen. It is in the quiet courage of facing something no script could ever prepare him for. His journey is not just a Hollywood story. It's a reminder of something every one of us will face in some way. Watching the people we love grow older, change, and sometimes slip away before we're ready to let them go. Dementia is cruel, but what shines brighter than the disease is the love that surrounds him. A family who refuses to give up on connection, no matter how fragile it may be. From Emma's honesty to the unity of his children, Bruce's story has become larger than his career. It has become a testament to what matters most when the lights fade and the cameras stop rolling. Love, loyalty, and the strength to keep going, even when the ending isn't fair. And maybe that's what makes this so powerful. Bruce Willis may not be able to speak to us anymore, but through the devotion of his family, his voice is still being heard. His life, his legacy, and even his struggles are teaching the world what resilience looks like in its rawest form. So the next time you think of Bruce Willis, don't just remember the action hero. Remember the father, the husband, the man who gave so much of himself on screen, and who is still, in his own way, giving us something off-screen, a reminder to cherish the moments we have before they slip away. If this story moved you, take a second to share it, because the more people who understand what families like the Willises are going through, the less alone they'll feel. And if you want to honor Bruce's legacy, hit that like button, subscribe, and stay with us as we continue to bring you the untold stories behind Hollywood's brightest stars. Because sometimes, the most powerful stories are not the ones we watch in movies, they're the ones happening in real life.